Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Bangladesh and the World podcast, brought to you by Bangladesh America Alliance. I'm your host, Mainul Haq, and you are tuning in for episode 16. We are streaming live across X, Facebook, and YouTube. Follow us at BD Alliance at BDUS Alliance for updates, and feel free to send your questions and any of these platforms throughout the show. Today, we are diving into one of the most disruptive forces shaping our present and redefining our future, which is AI. From Silicon Valley to Shariatpur, the AI wave is moving fast, reshaping industries, jobs, and the very way we interact with technology. Just in past few months, we have seen stunning developments from AI co-pilots transferring how we code and work to generative models beyond deployed in healthcare, logistics, education, and even law. The question is no longer if AI will change the world, it's how fast and who gets left behind. So what does this revolution mean for a country like Bangladesh? Can we leapfrog into a smarter digital future, or will we fall behind in a world that's rapidly automating? To help us unpack all of this, I am joined by two brilliant minds: Muhammad Mo Islam, a seasoned leader in enterprise AI and tech innovation across Fortune 500 companies, and Shams Salom, a veteran AI strategist specializing in education technology and digital transformation across global and South Asian industries. Join us for an exciting conversation on AI with Muhammad Mo Islam and Shams Salom as they explore progress, challenges, and future of AI. So let me start with the background of both of them. I'll start with Muhammad Mo Islam, who is a passionate technologist and an education in the world of AI. Mo has worked with the United Nations and three of the top five Fortune 500 companies, including Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and Walmart. He also has been a tireless educator, leading hands-on workshops on machine learning, deep learning, and prompt engineering, as well as what he calls vibe coding. He supported AI student chapters from Kentucky to Lima, Peru, and Washington, D.C., and he even holds a US patent for a GPS mapping device. Currently, Mo serves as an associate director at a Fortune 500 health insurance company and lives in New Jersey. When he's not talking AI, he's an advocate for animals and loves traveling and gardening. Fun fact about Mo visited 48 of the 50 states except Alaska and Hawaii, spending at least 2 nights in each state. And here are some of the pictures from the trip. That's interesting picture, Mo, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
Sham Salom, Sham Salom is a tech industry veteran with over 20 years of experience driving innovation across multiple sectors. Sham Salom has worked with some of the top global companies and spent the last 6 years as an adjunct professor at the City University of New York, mentoring and shaping the next generation of tech leaders. His current focus is powerful interaction of AI in education. He is deeply engaged in machine learning, deep learning, adaptive learning, and emotional AI, with a vision for how these tools can revolutionize the way we teach, learn, and connect in the digital age. Fun fact: Shams Alam loves kickboxing and Muay Thai, and he often practices kickboxing and Muay Thai when he's not working. Now let's deep dive into the main conversation today. I'm going to start with obviously, we know that AI is transforming industries worldwide. My question to Shams Alam: how do you define AI?
Thank you, Manuel, for having me here. AI is a very exciting field, and it evolving rapidly, and we all can see it, and we all can understand it. First, let's look at the clip. What people thought about internet in 90s.
Internet is that massive computer network, the one that's becoming really big now. What do you mean? How does one? What do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it and communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
You see, I remember that era when people were, even I was also confused about internet at that time. I was still in college. So what people thought about internet in 90s is what people are thinking about AI now. Confusion, would AI revolutionize the whole world, take over the whole world? Will the humankind extinct? There are a lot of questions. Will they have consciousness like humans? So these are all complicated questions to answer, and each of them require a different set of discussion. But in a simple term, what is AI is when scientists, computer scientists and mathematicians, they started to think about the whole thing, then they know that a computer program is a set of instruction have been put on output, and whatever the output should be executed, the computer will do it. But they started to think about, can a system think? Can we make a system think? A system can be a computer program, a robot, industry tools. Can it think? If it can think, then it can act like human. It will have human intelligence. And if so, then we can actually make system much better. It's thinking for us. So that's the whole idea, is that can we make machine or system think like human? And around that ideas, then a lot of different algorithms, a lot of different theories, concepts evolve, like machine learning, deep learning, which is also associated with neural network. A very interesting part, how our brain behaves, is something that we can emulate through our AI system. Then we can actually do a lot of things like image detections, voice detection, and a lot of other things. AGI is something that also very interesting field, that can machine either be equal to human or surpass human intelligence. And then you have supervised learning and unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning. So these are all fancy things that we talk about, but these are all based on a primary question, that can a machine think? Can we make it more intelligent or as intelligent as human?
Thank you. I know that you are in education. Can you tell me what's happening in your industry at this time with regards to AI?
So, yes. So if you put up, there's another clip, So these are the use cases in different areas. You see that medical diagnosis, and then you have automation process. And there's use cases in every field, from economics to environmental to healthcare and everything. But let me talk about education and what we are doing. So in education, adaptive learning is a very important field. It's like you are teaching a student, and if you do one size fits all, that does not do a justice to a lot of students. They either learn fast or they learn slow. So you have to really adapt your teaching style based on somebody's or some student's ability to learn. A good tutor, a teacher would follow that. But the problem is that you are only one teacher and you have, let's say, 30 students. You don't have 30 teachers. But if you have a system, a computer, that will follow your progress and follow your learning capability and your interest and everything, emotional AI, that when you are sad or you are not feeling well today, and if we can create a system and adapt it, then you can always push you and make you a better student. This idea can be applied anywhere. You are sitting in a rural areas with a computer, having the same knowledge, same ideas of learning capability as somebody does in Harvard or MIT. So adaptive learning is something that I'm working on, and it's an exciting, it's not easy field, but this is something will be available to the world. There's also another field that is important in education is learning through AR and VR, augmented reality or virtual reality. You put a headset and you can learn different things. You can have a whole set of chemistry lab. You can react with any elements to any elements or compound and see what happens. There's endless possibility. You don't need a real chemical as what you see in the lab or physics. You can experiment yourself about the gravity on the moon and exactly feel what it feels like. If somebody can set up a augmented reality and having to play, let's say, Shakespeare's some play with world-class actors, let's say Patrick Stewart. That's the only one I know because I'm a fan of Star Trek. And you can actually play with him. So these are the things that it's not only this, but in the medical field, doctors can actually practice human anatomy, dissect and everything before they actually can go into the operation theater. So this is a variety of things you can do in education, and we are all touching and trying to make it better.
Thank you, Chansbhai. Turning into Mo, I know that you're in healthcare industry. Can you shed some light on what's happening in your industry at this time?
Thanks for having us. AI is increasingly being used for personalized healthcare, medical diagnosing, and imaging. You will see an staggering use of images used in medical sector, such as X-ray, MRI, CT scans, and AI is helping a lot to do the analysis on the diagnosis part. A research in Sweden on 80,000 women on cancer, it came out like when there is a radiologist work with an AI tool along with them, an intervention of the AI tool, the accuracy is 20% more than two radiologists looking at the same mammograms and to find the result, which is great. It's also helping in the early disease prediction, such as in cancer, stroke, Alzheimer diseases, and in many cases, it has been more accurate than humans. AI also enables the robotic assistance during surgery. We notice small incision, less blood loss, and a quick recovery of the patients. And sometimes it is cost effective. So in my industry, in my organization, because AI is so demanding at this moment that the slogan is for the last year and this year, we are also following that. And AI every day, every role, everywhere. And the company is trying to promote their workforces with the new skill sets. And so it is very crucial and playing a pivotal role in our industry.
You mentioned about personalized healthcare, right? Can you shed some light on that?
Absolutely. Can you share the slide, please?
Oh,
Next slide.
okay, got it.
Yeah. The one in the previous one, please.
Yeah, it's.
Thank you. Imagine a young girl named Sarah, and she is wearing a wristband or a smartwatch that monitors her heartbeat, sleep pattern, or exercise. And along with that, she is also wearing a smart phone that monitors her weight and her foot posture, like when she is walking, jogging, or running. Along with this, she can put her daily dietary information, and the AI platform can help her to generate the personalized recommendation. So in short, like, it is Sarah's healthcare is not one size fits all. It's unique only for hers. So this is the future of the wellness, like connected, intelligent, and personal.
Mo, if I can add it, it just reminded me of not long ago, Dr. Yunus was saying that, you can have a smartphone and a personalized healthcare that somebody, whether you go to a doctor's or entering by himself, and this personalized app in your phone can give you a lot of things. It's time to see a doctor. Your blood pressure is not going great in last 2 months or 3 months. So when Dr. Moon was talking about it, his innovation was what you're just showing now, and it is pretty much possible to implement these things all over the world. App itself is not too expensive to build, and there are apps. So we can just have to adopt the app. So I thought I'll just throw it.
Awesome. Thanks for adding on that. That is great.
Now, pointing back to you, Shansbhai, can you tell us a little bit why AI is so popular lately?
Can you bring out the Gartner cycle
Yes.
image?
Shortly. Yes, here you go.
So you see that this is a Gartner hype cycle. It depicts the life cycle of emerging technologies from inception to the adoption. And you'll see 10 of them, out of how many are there, but 10 of them, top 10 are all AI based. So Gartner is also analyzing it, and they're also seeing that they're on the top. But why is AI popular? Gartner is saying it because it's popular. But why is it popular? I mean, AI idea has been around for many years, for 20, 30, or 40 years. But because, as I said before, that we gave an instruction to computer, it will give you an output. Now they say, no, we want a system to think. And over the time, the applied mathematicians came with different algorithms. Hey, this is the way we can make computer think. And then computer scientists came with their ideas, then put together. We have psychologists who are also giving their ideas of how brain thinks. And I just said a little while ago that neural network is, how our brain behaves. And if computer scientists can take that idea and put into a system, that's what deep learning is, then we can have something a machine can think. And right now we are at a time when ChatGPT came in, and it was like, wow. But ChatGPT is a development of so many different things. So many people have contributed themselves into this idea. But right now we have pretty much a lot of things available to make the AI possible. And because we have a lot of tools, it has become recently very popular. So this is the time why we should get on the board. And you see from Gartner hype cycle that it is in fact is the top 10 emerging technologies are all AI based.
Thank you, Shansbhai. What about you, Mo? What do you think AI is popular lately from your perspective?
So, peeking back to what Shansbhai has mentioned, let's go to the next slide. So the chart shows on how, so let's focus on the chart. And the chart shows how we got here by zooming into the last 2 decades of AI development. If you focus on the y-axis, on the top, human performance as the benchmark is set to 0. At the bottom, the initial performance of the AI system is set to -100. So when we look at the early 2000, the handwriting recognition, speech recognition, image recognition. AI is not performing, was not in, these areas, AI was not performing that well. But if we look at recently, in the last 5 years, in this area, AI system is performing better than humans in some cases, and they're outpacing human performance. And also in reading comprehension, language understanding. This brings a big faith on us that how the AI is kind of, helping us. This is one of the area, like, is in the performance side. Let's go to the next slide, please. So now let's look at the data perspective. So from the data perspective, in 2010, we had 130 exabytes of data globally. And now we have over 40,000 exabytes or 40 trillion gigabytes of data. So the growth is kind of 300 times than 2010. And not only that, from the data perspective, the data is doubling in every 2 years. If you focus on the chart on this graph, the red arrow and the blue arrow, which is covering by the data scientists and machines, you can see only 20% of the data can be covered by the data scientists or the machines. So we need some technology to cover rest of the data, to monitor the data, to make sure how this data is being handled. And here, the machine learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning is coming to the game. So that is another part. And another thing is, in the hardware cost perspective, the investment per gigabyte, of hard drive cost dropped from $2 to 20 cents. So think about that, what Soundsby has mentioned, like the Gartner hype cycle, where AI is getting a lot of priority. Out of the 30 most demanding jobs, 10 jobs are coming from the AI perspective. Secondly, from the perspective of how AI is performing in the last 20 years, it's much better in so many areas. It is outpacing human performance. Data side, we have much more data to handle, and also the hardware cost going down. So all this together is creating an environment or giving us an opportunity, and the big companies see a big opportunity there, and they're investing a lot of money. So these all together creates, these are the major things, and there are some also minor things are there as well, but these are the major things that is driving to making that AI is so popular in this area. So what is happening from healthcare, finance to self-driving cars, AI has shown huge promise, has taken the world by storm.
Awesome. Thanks for giving that overview of why AI is popular, also to Soundsby. Now, turning back to Soundsby, can you tell us a little bit about what are the common misconceptions about AI and how a country like Bangladesh can learn from these misconceptions?
Yeah, there are a lot of misconceptions about AI, and some of them we still don't understand. Like, can AI have consciousness? Not long ago, Google said that we think that our AI have some kind of consciousness, and a lot of other scientists, they totally refuted that no, it's not true. But those are complex thing to answer. But commonly, misconception are what we talk about now, or everybody's thinking about, is, will AI replace all jobs? In my opinion, AI will not replace all jobs, but all jobs will require some kind of AI knowledge. That we can understand in every field. If you look into the field of healthcare, doctor, nurses will do the same jobs. The disease are same. The fundamental nature remains the same. Gravity will work the same way. People will get disease the same way. AI is not going to change the fundamental nature, but it will make us understand and make decision better. So doctors and nurses will deal with this sort of same kinds of diseases, but they will use a different kind of tools, the diagnostic tools, AI-based diagnostic tools. So they have to learn all those tools. To the fundamental knowledge, whatever they learn, they will still learn, but they need to learn the technologies. Office managers will learn AI-based tools like how to search and find something in AI-based, which is prompt engineering, right? It sounds like prompt engineering, but you're basically searching for something. But you have to know how to do that. You have to know how to use the tool. Farmers will use some sort of tool, and it will sort of predict what kind of crops do they need to be cultivating in the next season, or what the weather would be like, because AI now predicting better than before. Sustainability, it will create a model and sort of predict of the model will pretty much reduce the energy consumption, waste. So this will help us in every day. So you'll see that in all fields, AI will help to make better decisions. So it will not replace all jobs, even though some jobs would be sort of, teachers are worried, even myself, that, our colleagues sometimes say that, if AI teaches everything and you're talking about adaptive learning, then what the teachers will do? Well, teachers will still deal with the teachers. They still have to teach them how to use that adaptive system, computer, but their application of teaching would be a little bit different. And they have to I also have to adapt the new technology. So for everyone, we have to learn the new tools, not necessarily, the tool that a computer scientist will use. Another misconception is that it's only for the tech companies, because we think about AIs and we think about, data scientist, somebody with PhD in mathematics or computer science and dealing with data science. Yeah, that's true that, there are people who are actually dealing with machine learning and deep learning and reinforcement learning and creating algorithm. But it's not all about it. It's people are creating cars and planes, and we are riding a plane. We're driving a car. Well, it's not that complicated to drive a car. It is probably complicated to make a car. So it's not only for tech companies. It can be used in anything. Like I said, agriculture, sustainability, leadership. There will be better leadership because it will use some sort of tools to predict what they need to do. I mean, I was just reading an article, I think yesterday, by MIT, and they're saying that a lot of leaders are not ready. The company leaders, they need to learn themselves what tools to use, what are the available AIs, and if they don't, then how can they drive an organizations? So chief innovation officers, chief economics officer, CEO or CFO all need to be knowledgeable in that area. So it's not only for tech companies, but all other people from every department needs to be familiar with what is going on.
Thank you so much. I'm going to bring in Abir, who is also hosting with me. Abir will take over the next sort of questions. I'll come back at a later stage. Abir, go ahead.
So I wanted to speak a little bit about the perspective from Bangladesh specifically, because this is from the Bangladesh America Alliance, and we are trying to bridge that gap specifically around these interesting and critical topics like AI. So what I wanted to ask about are what practical steps can Bangladesh government and businesses take to start to integrate some of these AI technologies? And we'll start with Shams Bhai, and then we'll go to Mobai.
Let me take over on this one.
Okay, I think you have more knowledge. Do that.
Okay, so I'll just kind of piggyback on Shansbhai. First is start small but smart. AI is not only for the tech industry, it is for any industry that you are in, such as sports, education, retail, marketing. One of the things you can start looking for is pick up a task that is repeatable, is continuously, and is automatable. And start small and iterate often. What you can do, you don't need a big budget as a company or organization. You can start with using some of the cloud tools and scale it up as needed, or use some of the open sources. Hugging Face and other sources are there, and different chatbots are there, which is getting very popular lately across the industry, and start implementing that. So that is first thing is start small but smart. So in Bangladesh perspective, when from the budget perspective, it is a good start. Secondly, focus on the practical use cases. As I said, that means AI is not only for the tech industries, tech companies, it is for across the company that you are in. And we can see that like BRAC is implementing on the disaster responses. They're working on the different models. There is a company, Marco Polo AI from Bangladesh. This is a digital marketing company. And they became get attention on the Forbes Asia 30th in 2023. We also see that 10 Minutes School, they are working on personalized learning and customized quiz. So there are so many opportunities. So AI is not only for the Silicon Valley only, it's already being used to solve like very real and local problems from our perspective, country perspective. So in short, Bangladesh can leapfrog by being pragmatic, inclusive, and purpose driven on how it uses AI. So most important is, I would say, don't fear it. AI is not a magic bullet or a doomsday machine. It's a tool. It's a very powerful tool, no question about that, but only as effective as how we choose to use it.
All right. Shams bhai, would you like to add something to that as well?
Let me talk about some of the misinformation spreading in Bangladesh, especially after July.
Yeah.
And before that, let me talk about generative AI because it's related.
Yeah.
So generative AI it's content creation. It could be video, audio, or some text-based content based on the available data, based on the existing data. We do use it in our education industry based on massive pull-up data, and we have like thousands and thousands of books. And based on that, we can create new data, new learning material, adaptive learning. That why we are pushing a student with a better content because he's able to do that based on the existing one, right? So that's generative AI. Now the idea is that you're creating videos based on the existing, whatever the videos we have, and we can also create audios based on the existing. So it can be anything. So generative AI is even now they are creating paintings based on the existing one. So generative AI has given us a tool to create something better. But then again, there are people who are misusing this. You can make a good use of it, you can make a bad use of it. And that leads to misinformation. And that is what is happening in Bangladesh as well, recently. And if you see that, you'll see that in April 2025, according to a local newspaper, in April 2025, alone 296 cases of fake news has been spread. According to fact-checking organizations. There are 837 instances of misinformation in the first 3 months of 2023. Social media, with like Facebook, it's another platform for many, for all, not only youngster, but from kids to youngster to older people. All of them are using Facebook, and you see that even Facebook, there has been 748 fake claim in the early 2025. People are spreading videos that is not really true. People are using voices. They can use my voice and make me say something that I have not said,
Right.
or a video of me saying something which is not me. So some people are, doing a bad justice to the use of generative AI. But these are the things are spreading in Bangladesh since the uprising, since July, and that's you know unfortunate, but it is happening in Bangladesh.
So we saw during the July Revolution and afterwards, there were not just from Bangladesh, but from India and from other sources all over the world, not just misinformation, disinformation, where doctored pictures of fake instances were being created right here on X, on Twitter, and then that news would get picked up by mainstream media, and then that would be snowball significantly. And we have seen that AGI specifically being utilized for that, and it started with just doctored pictures, then, as you mentioned, went into videos and also other things. So my question is, what tools and what can we do to identify or help to identify some of these doctored artifacts and fight this misinformation and disinformation?
This is a good question. That can AI, let's say, can
Right.
AI detect the misinformation of
Right.
AI driven content?
Right.
Can it do that?
Yeah.
Yes, it can. It can. Is the more? Do you know? Is there any tools available right now?
Absolutely, absolutely. So to piggyback what Shams Bhai and Abid mentioned, right? Um, yes, AI can help, but it is not magic. So think about AI is a flashlight, and you are trying to find something in the dark, and this flashlight, but you need to know where to focus with this flashlight. Otherwise, you will not be able to find the problem, right? Or there is a fair line on that. What happens? There are several AI fact checking tools for news and stories, such as Claimbuster, PullFact, Google Fact, Logically. And these tools, what they do, they identify factual claims in real time, and it validates again databases and assess misinformation patterns. Also, we have local fact checking groups like in BD Fact Check and Boom BD. They are using like AI tools to catch like false stories before they spread too far. We need to focus on responsible AI, the regulations, the ethics review board. Government has to step up on this, together and collaborate with the industries, the universities, academia. Also, AI has its limits because AI needs good data to work well, because it can be biased. AI can be biased if the data it is trained on is not fair. So, plus misinformation moves fast.
Yeah.
So sometimes what happens faster than AI even can keep up. So it works best when it combined with human judgment, media literacy, and strong local journalism. Sounds right back to you.
No, that's great. Yes, I totally agree. Thank
So
you.
I have a follow-up question specifically on Bangladesh. I know we talked about how disruptive AI is going to be and already is. So speaking on the disruption on Bangladesh, one of the main concerns have been disruption to job creation, right? So we have already started to see automation taking away jobs in the ready-made garments industry, where lines that used to have hundreds of workers are now being automated. And some of these tools or systems already use AI to automate some of these low-level activities that the factories used to do. Now, we are also expecting similar things for the freelancing industry, right? A lot of the jobs in the freelancing industry were also low-hanging IT jobs or computer-based jobs that throughout Bangladesh people were doing. So a lot of fear is that these jobs, both in the garment sector as well as the freelancing IT sector, will be hugely impacted by AI. So the question is, what should Bangladesh do to start to address some of these issues about job losses? And we'll go to Shamsbhai first, and then
Yeah, sure. There is an image. Can you put it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that? Battle against artificial intelligence. So some people are scared, some people are not knowledgeable, and some people just don't like the technology, the science itself, because it will replace a lot of, not a lot, but let's say it will replace jobs. And as I said before, that instead of thinking about replacing job, we need to educate ourselves or learn technology so that we can keep up. But in order to do that, what we need to do is that, first of all, is that education and public awareness. We have to educate ourselves. So educate the students, educate the public about AI. So, of course, Bangladesh or any government can take the initiative, teach their education systems, add the AI into the primary school, secondary, or higher education. They can add AI. What is going on in AI? You can add it in starting from third grade. I mean, they would understand. Starting from fifth grade, they would understand the basic of AI and what are the tools available, how you can use it, what it is actually doing. And also in the government offices. In my company, it's mandatory for everyone to take some kind of AI courses, just to learn the tools and what it is, so that you can sort of integrate AI into your workflow. So in any countries, including Bangladesh government can open up training centers where normal public can go and learn about AI. Anybody who's, whether working or not working, or not necessarily that it has to go through learning a Python and become data scientists. Of course, some will do. Some smart students, they want to learn the very fundamental of AI and see, I want to know exactly how the algorithm is built. How is it making decision? What is the decision making capability? That's fine. But not all people need to go. A historian needs to know the tool so it can dig through the history and find out some events. Right? So those are the tool needs to be available. So training center, either government-led training center or public-led training center, should be available to the people. Every education system, primary, secondary, and adult, like university colleges, should implement the learning of AI, whether AI tools are very fundamental of AI. And then job training, job transition program, all things needs to be set up. And if we can do that, then we should be ready to challenge the future technology, whether AI based or not.
Okay, let's go to Mo. Mo bhai, do you want to add to that?
That means the mindset we need. Absolutely. So the mindset. So let's go to the next slide on this one, please. So intelligence is now available as a service, like a giant brain floating in the sky. So here is a silly but useful mental model like we have Einstein in our basement. And by Einstein, what we mean is we have access to the collective knowledge of the brightest and the sharpest mind through all the generative models, the LLM models, large language models we have. And we make them to play the role we want, like a comedian, a poet, a doctor, or a coach. And one thing that is the biggest limitation of that partner or your co-pilot is the imagination and the communicate effectively. So that is something you have to take the control. Otherwise, this tool can hallucinate. Okay, so I recommend thinking of AI as your genius colleague, but also as an oddball with some personal quirks that you need to learn how to work with. Now, go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. There are different mindsets, like we notice. And in one side, we have denial, and this is for the individuals and the industry. And they're saying, we don't have time, or AI cannot do the job. But that is not a place you want to be. On the other side of the scale, we have panic. And the panic is, AI is going to take my job, as Shams Bhai has mentioned, or no matter what I do, AI is going to bankrupt my company. Right? So, and this is not the place you want to be either. You want to get into a balanced mindset where you can start thinking, say, hey, AI is my partner that can makes me insanely productive, it can help me to gain superpower, and it can help me to reach from an idea to result and much faster rate, and an awesome mentor with me in all times. And this mindset, this balanced mindset, not only feels good, but it also equips you for the future and makes you less likely to lose your job and your company, and more likely to thrive in the age of AI. I mean, that is a common saying is, AI might not take your job, but people using AI will take your job. And this is true for both individuals and companies.
Thank you so much. I'm going to hand over to Mainul Bhai for the next segment. Thank you again for answering my questions.
Thanks, Abir. I appreciate it. So we're almost in the closing portion of our discussion. My next question would be, probably I'll start with Shams Bhai. What's one thing you're hopeful about AI, and one thing you're worried about when it comes to AI in the future?
Good question. Good question. Because I'm hopeful for many things. Is that within Bangladesh or any other countries, you can be anywhere in any part of the country. It could be in Dhaka or it could be in rural areas, and you can learn all the AI tools available in the market. The same tool that we are using in New York, a Harvard student using in Harvard, or students or faculties are using in MIT. We can use the same tool in any part of Bangladesh. So what I'm hopeful is that you go to a rural area, and that if we give them the right tools, and the tools are available, then you'll see that those people are as smart as any other people. It doesn't have to be that you go to top school, but we have to make sure that the tools are available. Tools are available not only in rural area, but every department of transportation and finance and governance, and every department has the tools. And I'm hopeful that that's what it would be. It is making decision. It's not expensive at all. You're not having 5 data scientists thinking about what to do, and and use it. You just have to use the available tool, and you can do a lot of things. I mean, we, even one of the largest education company, we're using tools like even ChatGPT. We're using their API and making our own tool. So their AI is helping us to make our own tool. So they're doing the thinking part, and we are basically using the decision-making thinking part and then making our own tool. We can do the same thing in any parts of Bangladesh, including any department of Bangladesh. You just need a guidance to how you can implement, what are the things you can do. That's why I said the leadership is very important. So I'm very hopeful that it will happen. It is not expensive. It is just finding the right tool, and you'll see that it's not expensive at all. So I'm so helpful. What concerns me is the misinformation that I just talked about. This will get in a place that some people know that it's fake news. Some people know that no, it's not fake news, it's real. They believe what they see, and they see it, and they believe it without justifying whether it's true or not. I look at a video and I read in between, and I say, well, this video is fake because the way that person is talking, the movement of eyes and bodies does not look like this is the person actually doing it real. So, but some people want to believe in it. They will believe in it. So that concerns me, and therefore there should be some government regulations and some ethical rules and regulations need to be created in order to stop that. But overall, I believe that I'm optimistic that it will do good for the humankind. I'm not a pessimistic person. I'm a real optimistic. So it will do good for the humankind.
Thank you, Shamsbhai. So my last question to Mo for today's conversation on AI. If it is one piece of information you have to give to young people growing up in the era of AI, what would it be?
Don't just use AI. Learn how it works and be curious. You don't have to be a programmer to use AI. Try to learn the basics. An example is like you do not need to know when if I do a kind of a comparison or metaphor with car, when you drive a car, you need to know how to steer it. You do not need to know how to build the engine of the car, right? You can get a little bit more into that, like do some troubleshooting as needed, but try to understand it and don't fear it. Use it like a superpower, because the future belongs to those who can think, adapt, and co-create with machines and not compete with them. So life is a journey. That means it's a saying that from B to D, from birth to death, but between them lies C, and C is the choices that gives it meaning. So let's master AI before AI master you.
One follow-up question on this. I know that AI is scary to a lot of people, especially people who are not tech conversant, especially in Bangladesh. If somebody, recent grads who want to get into the technology field and get claimed or used to the AI model or learn about AI, I know that you are heavily involved in mentoring and training in AI space. Do you have any recommendation? What should a newcomer or somebody who's not very techy, who doesn't know computer that much, how they can adapt to this new transformative change?
There are so much opportunities, floating around. You don't have to spend much money on this one. Training is very important. Build up your skill sets. There are MOOCs, like the massive open online courses. You can take the courses online. There are so many free courses are available. Start deep dive into that. That means I enjoy, I'm involved into the AI training. That means, and I enjoy it. Get involved into different venues and explore the practical ways on how to train and apply AI models. So there is something called explanation effect. Like when you teach somebody, you learn twice. So when you are learning it, also you teach somebody. So that will help you to grow faster. So, and for me, that's been a big motivator factor for me because I'm in the industry, but also I keep teaching while I, staying active in the industry.
Awesome. With that, we wrap up our conversation interview or specific questions on AI session. I'm going to bring some guests to the stage. I'm not sure if Abid is still around.
Yeah, I'm right here.
All right. I bring Kausar Bhai. Welcome to this session, Kausar Bhai.
Thank
I
you.
know that you have been listening for last almost an hour about our conversation.
It's
Now,
very, very insightful. Very insightful.
so we just want to open it for among us to discuss anything.
Okay, so
insightful.
my question today is for Mo, because I was listening very deeply into what he was saying, and something struck me. So this is like I would like to understand a use case scenario for Bangladesh, because in Bangladesh right now, our diagnostics in the medical field is just, it's horrible, right? So how could we use AI very cost effectively which could help diagnose patients having all these different problems? You see, we are having to go to India, Bangkok, Singapore, Dubai, other countries to get this diagnosis done, right? So how can we do that in a very cost-effective way in the age of AI? Thanks.
Oh, absolutely. Great question, Kausar bhai. So one of the thing, if you look at one thing I mentioned, that there are 90% of the staggering data is used in diagnose part is image, different types of images, which is X-ray, MRI, CT scans, and AI is playing a pivotal role. That means it is partnering with the doctors, and it is helping to identify, like if there's somebody have a like a cancer or some other diseases, that's kind of Alzheimer's, right? What we can do instead of building something from scratch, there are AI applications in medical diagnostic areas such as IBM Watson Health that helps to analyze the structured and unstructured data. So some of the image, as well as you have some of the reports that the doctors and nurses are creating, and clinical notes. And they can use just a built-in tool. They can subscribe the IBM Watson Health, and that is one of the things. Like it helps to the treatment pathway. Like it's kind of reduce the pressure on the doctor, and that can kind of they can take the doctor. One doctor can take help more patients and be close to them. Google DeepMind Health is another one. It works on the mostly good on the image, especially on the breast cancer detection by analyzing mammograms. So Google DeepMind Health is another tool that can be, they can start leveraging the private hospitals. Our government hospitals can start leveraging those. Path AI is another one, is that assist pathologists in diagnosing like cancer by analyzing medical images. I would say instead of building something from scratch, start leveraging the tools that is already available, that is well established. You have to be careful when you choose the tool. Another thing is, because there are some.
My question, Mo, is that, so how will this work? Will a doctor subscribe and then upload the X-rays that he has? I mean, is that going to be the system? How will this diagnosis work for him?
Absolutely. So it is based on the subscription or based on the application you install. What happens, doctors not only upload the images, but also has the reports, medical reports they have, the clinical reports they have. It puts together, it combines together, does the analysis in the background, these tools, and kind of help them to faster analysis. And sometimes it's do better job than, as I mentioned, in Sweden, when they did the analysis of the 80,000 women, when there was one radiologist, with the AI tool, that was 20% more accurate than the two radiologists look at the same mammogram reports. That's the way.
So, can I ask a question on a similar
Hi,
vein?
welcome back. Welcome, Shahid, to the
Thank you
conversation.
so much. So I'm sorry I missed part of it, but I caught the last of your some of the things you said, and it's very encouraging. I'm a physician and I work in the pharmaceutical industry, and so I can relate to what you're saying. What my question is, piggybacking on what Kausar was saying, that I was blown away by the AI just yesterday. I can tell you about that, but all these things you're saying in medical technology and in other places where there is a lot of things are getting used, and there are so many, as you're saying, so many things that are already out there that people can leverage. How can Bangladesh benefit from it? How can we build an AI? I don't know if you have already discussed it, I'm sorry, but in this medical field, how can Bangladesh leverage that, become a hub where we can actually, like a software or coding, like programming, freelancing, how can the people of Bangladesh actually benefit from it?
So if we want to build our skill set, there are two perspectives, as I see it. One is you already have the tool and you start leveraging that. That's one way of looking. And the other side is we start building our own technologies and tools. That is another. So you have to build that local, digital talent locally. Here, when we start doing that, the universities, the industries, they have to collaborate along with the government, make sure the skill sets, the workforce is building that skill set. And also the government kind of give the environment where kind of, it gives the new generations or the new skilled people to flourish, to build that, right? But to start, the second part is that is, when you are building it, like we see our neighboring countries they're getting China, India, they're getting very good in the technology side, because it's not only connected with the, a foreign country or a first world country, it's kind of all over, right? Anybody can do it. That's one of the things. On the other side is spectrum is the hospitals in the current stage. When you are building this, up, it will take some time, right? And it will do a lot of testing and kind of making sure, things are in place. The tools that is already available in market and well established, the hospitals can start, our clinics can start leveraging those tools they can train the doctors, nurses, and start leveraging those tools. One of the things is that you have to be careful is because in the real world, we see some AI big failures in healthcare. And I'll give some examples. One example is Babylon Health chatbot. So what happened, that chatbot that was in 2020, that was not doing good job, and it was giving a lot of inaccurate, misleading information. And potentially it was endangering patients. So you have to do enough kind of quality assurance to make sure that means the products you are leveraging are good enough to support your patients and your call. Another example is, I'll tell that NH Predict, that is one of the big company, the goal was is automate the patient coverage decisions, but it ended up with 90% error rate and leading to unjustified coverage denials. So AI, as I said, this is the important thing. So three perspectives, if I look at that, one is build our skill set and start building the tools. That is kind of will empower us, because then we know we can make sure, we are training the data with the good data set. And that is perspective to our data set, because also, continent to continent, the diseases are not the same. Like you'll see more diabetics patients in some areas, and you see some Africa in the different continent, that the disease spectrum is different, right? So your training data will be helpful as well. Second part is take the existing tools and start leveraging it with the current workforce. Most importantly is making sure when you do that, you make sure the tools are good enough and do enough quality assurance before you leverage it. Because we see another example is in Norway. I'll tell you that this is, one of the examples is there was a system, Epic system. It was called Epic system in 2022 November, if I remember correct. They rolled out that Epic system, and after that, 25% of the doctors resigned, and that ended up with the project to close and the CEO, the project CEO, to resign. He was dismissed and to resign. So those are the things, I would say it's a combination of this. It's not one shoe fits all, but we can start kind of flourishing that and take it from there.
Thank you so much. The reason I asked the question, just yesterday, I was sitting here with a TikTok engineer, and we struggled to make website landing pages. We pay people money. We were sitting in a cafe using Claude. I created myself, not a very tech savvy person. I created a website landing page in 15 minutes that is professional looking. And it blew my mind away. And then the first thing that came to my mind, oh my God, my cousin in Bangladesh, who's a freelancer, he will lose his job. Because he will he does website development for countries, outside countries. So I asked him, do you know these MCP protocols or the Claude or something like that? And he said he doesn't. So the reason I'm asking, you say we should build a digital workforce. Is it about time the government and the private universities start to have AI major courses, and are there any? I don't know, but just asking you and Shams Alam, who are the experts.
Shams bhai, do you want to add something before I have one thing I would say.
Go ahead.
If you want one course take away from this particular session, and if that helps 1 or 2 person even, it will be a big win. Start working on prompt engineering, which is how to write the good prompts. We use a lot of ChatGPT. We are using Gemini. We are using Copilot, Microsoft Copilot. But learn how the temperature works. What does the temperature do when you the CLL kind of environment coefficients? What is top P is? What is top K is? How does it influence the hallucination? Okay, number one. The other thing is start looking at, this is the very recent one, that you do not need, as you mentioned, Shahid bhai, that means you do not need like a lot of experience. Even with a less experienced people can do a website or any application faster. That is called vibe coding. So the two things, if you take away these new technologies, that is easy to learn. I would say even if you're a professional software developer, start focusing on prompt engineering, and finally vibe coding, VIBE coding.
Thank you.
Shams bhai, back to you, please.
Yeah. So, I learned I got my AI certification I got one from MIT, one from Cornell, and, they are always on top in terms of creating courses and teaching their own students. In my college where I teach, the City University of New York, we have just introduced AI in the engineering department where I teach. And in high school, whether it's primary school, secondary, I work with a lot of schools. I mean, all GCSE school, I don't know how many thousands in UK. And we are building digital content because we are assuming that the print books will go away. So we're building a digital version of the book. But when it's a digital version, that means, you can interact with that. You are reading something, and then you have to take a quiz. Answer these 5 questions. And then it will be graded by AI. And then your adaptive learning will start to play a role. We have been doing it even before AI came in. That time we just wanted to have a digital content. So I know many countries, including EUA, USA, and UK, Australia, I work with them, that they are adding all the AI courses. Simple thing like Moses, prompt engineering. It's nothing but how you ask a question to, let's say, ChatGPT, and it will give you answer, right? So, and historian does not know how to search through the history using prompt engineering, but if he knows, if you understand, he can do this. So There are many, many tools that we can introduce in primary school, high school, digital content, digital transformation, everything we can do. I'm not sure how it is happening in Bangladesh, but we should be on the board. We should be on the board right now and add those things. You don't have to change the whole books, but if you add a chapter or two about AI, and a student can start learning from, let's say, third grade and so on. By the time they're eighth grade, they will be knowledgeable about how to utilize AI, and some people will be even more interested about learning the core level of AI, machine learning and deep learning and all those things. So it's happening here in the Western world, and it's not expensive to implement these things in the other countries like Bangladesh. And I'm hopeful that the government will take initiative.
I have one question to either of you. I was reading the other day in Economist that there is a high volume of data annotation jobs currently being outsourced in India, China, in other countries. I'm not sure how we can leverage that kind of work in Bangladesh, right? My point is that data annotation work, Abhi probably knows better than me, the technology-wise. It's not that difficult. It's more like teaching, right? The teaching system. The massive volume of jobs in India and China, they're outsourcing. How can we bring those jobs to Bangladesh? I mean, obviously, apart from the policy level questions, I'm trying to understand how to let people aware of those kind of thing and how we can leverage this market, and so that we can be better prepared to be competitive with China or India or maybe other countries in South Asia.
Mo, you want to take on? I mean, you do a lot of training in different settings.
Build a skill set. That is important. Be professional, because the outside world, they want to see you have skin in the game. That is very important. That is crucial. Think big. Start small. But certainly, the government also have to help and kind of to build the skills and take initiatives on that. The universities, the corporations, they have to do that. There is not a magic bullet on this one. This is something you have to work on it continuously. Get familiar with the different outsourcing, like Fiverr, right? And our young generations or anybody who is learning it, it's not like a age limits are there, and start putting your advertisement that you're based on your skill set, and start getting the contract, and that will start building your skill set and take it from there.
My one last question. We talk a lot about data ethics, data privacy in the healthcare space. I think even more in your company, United Healthcare, I saw a Wall Street Journal article a couple of days back that a lot of claims has been kind of incorrect claims have been done. Now they're shifting towards AI space, right? How we can make sure that the ethical side of AI can be maintained. I think a lot of that day I even posted in X that if Cloud CEO saying that there will be massive unemployment up to 20% in 5 to 10 years when AI will take over most of the, I think, entry-level jobs. So my point is that how can you stop this law? What could be an AI killer? I know it sounds bad, but I think my point is that what should be the counteractive measure, apart from learning technology, being aware of AIs, but I understand that. But is there any way we can put a break on those kind of things? Like OpenAI, Cloud, and other companies are building systems, right? But when I Googled the other day, I see that there is no specific policy to, unlike USA has it, right? Congress has some sort of break, but I think there is no official policy level discussion there. How we can put a break on those kind of things?
So in 2014, I'll give a quote from Elon Musk. So in 2014 at MIT Aeroastro Centennial Symposium, he mentioned that with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. We might be unleashing something that we do not know how to control. And look at this. even after 10 years or 11 years, I mean, you see that is very obvious. AI does not know ethics. It will optimize for whatever it is told to do, and good or bad. I'll give an example on this one. What happened in Switzerland, a Swiss company in 2021, it's a AI biochemical, they were doing some AI biochemical warfare testing. So it's called I think it's called Collaboration Pharmaceuticals, and we can check on that. But they use AI for their drug discovery to save lives. This is their job, right? But what they did to look at the dual use of AI, they did it in a kind of a very closed environment. So if you go to ChatGPT and say, give me the how to make a bomb, and it will say, I'm not going to give you. So there are some layers, right? Control layers there. And what they did, they took off all the controls there, and they just wanted to show a reverse model. And the goal was to say, okay, how, if we take off the controls of this like a model, how they behave, right? And it asked for, give us some of the biochemical weapons that can be kind of dangerous for the human, race. And what happened in 6 hours, AI ended up over 40,000 potential biochemical weapons. Like, even if for 1 to 2 that weapon, biochemical weapons, that means it takes years and years, right? In 6 hours. That is more toxic than the chemical weapons. So you have to be careful on how we use that tool. That is very important. To say that, like, say, hey, as you mentioned, like the clinically, it was not the what is that? The claims were denied was high, was very high, right? So what happened right now? What is happening in our industry? We are focusing on more because now it's getting exposed. We have the review board, like machine learning review board. Before even you release a model to the public, it's making sure it's not kind of suppressing any ethical side or any racial side. So these are kind of, we are making sure these things are happening because it will impact your reputation. It will impact your, you see the impact in the stock market in in some of the companies lately, right? There are a lot of changes that are happening. So certainly responsible AI, the regulations, good regulations, and ethics review board will play a pivotal role to make it work. Shams bhai, I'll pass it to you. Sorry.
No, this is great. What was the question, or was there?
It's more about AI ethics. How can we put a break on those kind of development? I know that everybody's talking about AI killing jobs, which is understandable. But my point is that, but also at the same time, there is no policy level. There is no official policy from Senate or Senate level to stop break on those privacy issues and AI ethics, right? Obviously, there are some measures have been taken recently, but when I look for it, there is no official any policy regulation from the Senate or Congress. How we can put a break on those negative side of AI, right? Because I know that it's taking jobs, but trade-off should be also how can we counter bad side of AI?
So it will take some of the jobs, unfortunately. I mean, look into not long ago, I met this guy who's a supervisor in a printing factory, printing plant for New York Times. It's located in Queens, New York. That's probably the largest New York Times area or plant where they actually print newspaper. And he says that this is it. I have only 1 year or 2 years. He said that he's gonna lose his job because people are not reading printing newspapers anymore. It's all online. So that's the evolution. And he doesn't know what to do because that's the only skills he has. And he said, what do I need to learn? It's not only AI, but being into online newspaper or even books in my industry. and he doesn't know. So after 2 years, he's worried that what does it need to learn? I mean, it's not like you learn some technology that will help you in printing. This industry will be gone. Maybe, it's not totally obsolete, but it would be probably gone in, majority of the cases. So it will, but that's the nature of the evolution, that we lost, we lose newspaper. We have lost horse carriage riders. We used to ride horses and carry people. Ford and other industry came in and have cars. They are also worried that will happen, but we have to be prepared for that. People who suspect that their jobs may be taken away, it's something that you suspect, then you have to be, worried and learn yourself. Find the technology you love and then relearn. A lot of teachers are afraid that their jobs will be extinct or what's going to happen to them. If AI, I'm talking about adaptive learning. AI is just, no, don't do that because it's going to take my job away. But what would happen is that they will still be there, but they have to. Some will learn the new technology and new AI-based teaching or whatever the things that they're doing. But a government has to have, every government, every organization should have some sort of ethics board that they will look into it, that, there's a garbage in and garbage out. So, so that it doesn't happen, they have to have an ethics board trying to understand everything and then make sure that there's a transition between what they're doing now and what they're expecting to happen. And then also we know that newspaper is going to go away. It is 90% gone. So if we can do that in every industry, we can sort of train those people and then, make sure that the transition is smooth. So yeah, government can play a big role in understanding and create a sort of rule. The ethic boards can create a lot of rules, for no garbage in, so we're not going to have garbage out, and then what transition they need. So as a guidance, whether it's a company or it's a government, as a guidance, they need to look into this matter so that when some jobs totally go away, they will. So, we have to make sure that they are in a different field or something they love. And some people do need to have just to upgrade their knowledge into AI. So we have to guide them. We have to guide them through consultancy. We have to guide them through training center, and we have to guide them through education, college, school, everywhere.
Thank you. I think fascinating conversation. I don't think we have any questions from the audience. Abir, do you have anything?
Yeah. So talking about next steps, I know the biggest item in discussion around AI has been AGI. General intelligence, close to human like intelligence, being able to not just solve problems, critical thing, but to go beyond. I know there has been a lot of predictions around timelines. There has been discussion about 2030s, some talk about 2040s. So just wanted to hear from the panel, what are your thoughts on AGI, and how far do you really think we are from actual AGI?
I'm still a fan of Star Trek, from the old generation Star Trek
Right.
to Star Trek New Generation and all of them. And, I was fascinated by the character called Data. He has
Right.
everything but emotion.
Yeah.
And, once he also created another robot named Lola, and he called her his daughter.
Yeah.
Lola had to be deactivated from some reason, but Lola had all those emotions and everything.
Right.
And Data was like amazing person. He has all those knowledge and everything. It does things, everything in 5 minutes, what a human would take like 6 days and everything. The AGI, will be as good as human and will surpass human. In some cases, it's been doing it. It completes things much faster. In couple of hours, what a human would take a day or even more. and it does more efficiently. So it does a lot of things, but in every sense, will it surpass human and go be as good as human in terms of the emotional intelligence, in terms of, our way of life, our consciousness? That is debatable. That is debatable because some people will say, well, it's going to have consciousness. And then you have to go and deep talk about what is consciousness. I mean, do we
So, for
agree?
example, like, sorry to interrupt. Like, what about independent? For example, let's say you have a specific domain and you want an AI to specifically have independent research on its own without human interventions, without a lot of, like, we talked about a specific scenario about biochemical being developed in 6 hours because it had no filters or limitations. But as we look at the development of AGI, there we have looked at all the low hanging fruit, right? Generative AI and so forth. But the next iterative is being able to generate original thought, original research, original art. Like, so that's my question.
Let me take a stab on this one. That's a good question. Great question. This is a very kind of so we are going through so many stages of AI, right? So rule-based AI, context-based AI. Now we are kind of here at this moment. We are in the AGI, like artificial general intelligence. So AGI is the kind of the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow at this moment,
Right.
and it's a pie in the sky. And the self-driving car is a good example of where AGI is flourishing. If you look at the self-driving cars are getting very closer to the whole shebang. And the grand prize of combining, it's the grand prize of all combining all the AI sub-disciplines into one. We have like a, perception, namely computer vision, right? Like Tesla, if you look at the self-driving car. So it's getting the information from outside, like noises. It's coming from the road. From inside, we are giving the directions. Somebody is talking. There are so many things going on, and it's taking its decision, right? So as I said, this is the kind of the we are seeing kind of a end goal of artificial general intelligence. Now, what is coming next, right? You are talking about now self-aware AI is coming, right? That is what is the point is, so once we reach our AGI, it is coming to the next level, say, hey, the self-aware AI, where we'll see the craft of new life forms. And it's the beyond and above of the normal or physical human experience that we do not know, right? That's what is coming in the game. Next, not only that, it goes towards the direction that is stages that I said, rule-based AI, context-based AI, we already overruled it. We are in the AGI, now self-aware AI, now the cosmic AI, even in the next level, where we will see it's a conceptual at this moment, but it will communicate multiple universe. That's the concept is coming. And it's moving so fast. Sometimes we used to say, hey, what is happening in the next 5 years? I would say, what is happening in the next 5 months or 3 months? Yeah. Even every day I wake up something new. So
just to follow up on that, in game development, there is a concept of virtual universes or multiple universes, which have their own rules of universe, so to speak, right? So throughout the game development history, we have seen artificial entities being present in that universe. So self-aware entities being present that can make decisions on their own. This has been an area where it has been talked about a lot. So I was wondering, when we talked about cosmic AI, if you had some thoughts about virtual worlds that can act as parallel universes in terms of the rules of the universe, the context in which it can exist, and what it can do.
Is the future, and this is the future, right? Shansbhai, you want to shed more light on that?
I would. That's a very complex area to talk about. One thing I know that, and I have, given a lot of thoughts about, consciousness. My another interesting, subject is can AI have consciousness? Do I know if I'm conscious? Well, I just know it. I know but I cannot define it. But how would an AI know that he's conscious? As because he said so? But who defines consciousness? I mean, there is no particular definition except I feel my awareness.
Awareness, yes.
But how would a robot know? I mean, and I thought about it, and I'm saying, well, if you believe in evolution, the higher organisms started from single cellular organism, single cell,
Right.
and we know that it did not have any nervous system, so possibly did not know the awareness, but it evolved to be something today that we are aware of us surrounding. From that single cell, is it possible that artificial intelligence can have artificial awareness?
Yes.
So that's I always think about it, that they would say, no, I am aware actually, it's maybe artificial, maybe I don't have the cellular level and organelle things, but I am is it
Aware,
possible? It's probably possible. Let me give you a fun fact about maybe less than 2 years ago, Google, there is a concept by Professor Noam Chomsky from Harvard that the learning of language is innate, right? It's biological. We know how language works by born. So, and he proved it, and that's why he's pioneered. But so what we do, we learn different languages based on what is innate. What we have the mechanism of learning language, but eventually we learn different languages. So he became pioneer. Google less than 2 years ago let a AI said, hey, this is how people learn languages, and it gave it the fundamental structure of learning language, just by understanding what Noam Chomsky said. And Google started to learn. He went through all the languages, and then you know what he learned? Bengali.
Bengali on its own, right? Yeah.
On his own, he just found out, and nobody knows why. Google could not say why he chose to learn Bengali, but he became fluent in Bengali.
So one of the theories is that Bengali is a junction language. If you look at the language trees of Indo-Aryan languages and the Eastern languages, Bengali kind of exists geographically and culturally as a junction point, right? So the theories are, because it acts as a junction language, it is why Google was able to learn Bengali on its own. But again, there are so many theories about why Bengali was learned.
Yeah.
But
so like Mo says, what's going to happen not in 5 years, but you let AI talk to each other, they'll figure it out in a few months about some spectacular ideas. That is, it could be scary, but fascinating too.
So I have to drop off. I'll hand over to my.
We are also to the end of the conversation. Unless Shahid, if anything to add or ask.
No, fascinating conversation and lots of questions to ask, but not enough time.
Yeah, this is one of the first of AI sessions we're having. We are planning to do some more in future, in coming weeks or months. Definitely feel free to follow our social media channels at BD US Alliance, X, Facebook, and YouTube. We also have a LinkedIn page. But definitely, this is one of the fascinating area that we are trying to dive into, especially as an NRB, and also some folks are in Bangladesh. Definitely, this will be very helpful. And with the upcoming changes, loss of jobs, unemployment rate coming up in next few years, we should have more conversation like this on how we can do better. How can we educate people to learn more about AI? How can they retrain themselves in this space, and which will make them more aware of the transformative change that is happening, and also make them better prepared for the world.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining this session, and definitely look forward to join with you guys sometime in the next few weeks, and more announcement is coming up from BDUS Alliance for the next weekend or so. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.